Yo, what is good, guys? Matt's back. Another fragrance video today. Didn't expect to be coming on doing another fragrance video anytime soon, but well, we got some things. We got some things through this week. Things I get are kind of like, if they're new things that I haven't like tried yet, it really is dependent on obviously something that catches my eye. Normally Jean-Christophe scents. I need to be able to obtain samples without, you know, totally paying a ridiculous price. So if I can get things to sample or even to buy blind buy, if I can get them for reasonable prices, normally that's the factor that, you know, that will sort of lead me to get hold of things. Obviously I need to like the look of them in the first place. They need to catch my eye. I'm not just picking up everything that Jean-Christophe makes just for the sake of it. We're thinking about the things that, you know, I'm more likely to enjoy. But the things I got today, we got the first one on this video, the Gucci scent. I post about these on the channel. If any of you guys subscribe to the channel, you'll see on like the post section, I do drop updates when I find things that I think are interesting, that I think other people might find interesting. I do drop posts about his latest creations. I did post about this Gucci one a little while back. Notes look amazing. Anyway, so short story. I got some samples. I found some samples of it on eBay, had a little Google. This is a very expensive scent. This whole line, actually, the Gucci Alchemist Garden. I think Persolates actually did a video on it quite recently, although he didn't have the latest ones. But Alberto Marias made pretty much all of them to start with. And now they've branched out to, like, you know, other perfumers. Obviously IFF. I think Jean-Christophe did one of the new ones. And someone else did the other new one. So they're using different perfumers now, apart from Alberto. I think Alberto's Givaudan or something. He's one of the other like perfume houses. But anyway, the Jean-Christophe's creation for them is called Ylang Ambrato. So it's a scent that's based on it's a bit of a tongue twister. Ylang-Ylang. There you go. I've really struggled to say that this week when I've been trying to sort of pronounce this note. Ylang-Ylang. So it's a note that I'm not that familiar with. I don't have any perfumes I think that contain this note. I had to do a little bit of research, to be honest, because I'm not super familiar with the smell. I have smelt scents that contain this smell, and I can now pinpoint what this note smells like. The main one being Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5 was actually one of my mother's favourite fragrances when I was growing up. She wore the EDT, I think, and that is a prominent like note in Chanel No. 5. So we've got a reference point for what Ylang-Ylang smells like. This isn't a first impression today. I've sampled this already, so I've kind of made the connections sort of with other scents now that contain this note. Anyway, this fragrance is part of the Alchemist Garden line. It's an expensive line. It's niche. I think the concept of the line is that it's meant to be like Alchemist, as in like they're trying to sort of combine notes in ways, basically in original ways, being a niche line. It's meant to be a little bit different to what's out there. Potentially that could be a very good thing if the notes look good. So the notes of this fragrance look really good. Before I get there, actually, I will say that the last video I did, the One Parfum, I did say I liked the scent a lot. I kind of dropped a hint that there was a little bit of a designer thing in it, but it wasn't very much. It wasn't anything that upset me. But after having tested the scent, I did say I'd test it more. I'd wear it, see where we go with it. I tested it more. I got a little more of that than I did initially. And based on the other things that I was comparing it to and the things I prefer to that scent, I did actually end up passing that on. So I don't have the One Parfum in my collection anymore. That's not to say it's not a really good scent. It is a really good scent, but it's not good enough to make the cut for me. This one we're gonna see about this. This one's not going to be your run-of-the-mill like designer, like sweet sort of darker, sort of sexy scent. I'll read you the notes in a second. We're looking for something that is going to be in that style potentially. You'll see from the notes, it's got some really appealing notes. So Ylang Ambrato was launched last year. Gucci Alchemist Garden line. You'll see the bottles have a sort of a, they have those sort of bottles that look like they're from like a medicine cabinet. It's classified as, let's have a look. It's classified as an oriental vanilla fragrance. Doesn't really sound like something I would go for normally. But let's read the notes, because the notes are, I won't read the blurb, there's a blurb there, but I'll read you the notes. So the top notes, black pepper, bergamot, neroli. Middle notes, ylang-ylang, tonka bean, benzoin, pimento leaf. And the base notes are tobacco, oak, labdaman, opanax, or popanax even, and tolu balsam. So a lot of notes there. Those notes sound amazing. With Jean-Christophe doing them, they sound like a great set of notes. Hence, I was interested in this. They sound like a fantastic set of notes. The only one there that's like question mark to me is Ylang-Ylang, because that's a floral note. It's a yellow floral note. I don't really like a lot of the yellow floral smells. They can get a little bit sort of funky and dirty sometimes. Is an aspect of Ylang-Ylang. There is a sort of a dirtiness to it that you find in a lot of floral notes. But the marketing for this scent really hones in on Ylang-Ylang and tonka bean. They're the notes that it says that it's sort of focused on. And you're going to get some sort of combination or interplay between those two notes. So I'll spray it in a minute. Tell you what I get from this scent. But yeah, potentially with the rest of the notes, we've got things like tobacco, oak wood. We've got lots of resins, some woody stuff, some pepper, pimento leaf, a little bit spicy potentially. Basically, it just looks like a dark resiny sort of scent that could be done really, really well, which to me was really interesting. I thought, yes, we've got to sample this one as soon as it's viable, really. There is actually testers available for this line, so if anyone has access to people, you know, who pick up testers, it's possible to get testers. There wasn't testers available where I looked for this one because it's a brand new release, but the other ones in the line, there was lots of testers. So what I'm going to do, well, let's get to the scent anyway. But yeah, anyway, testers are a thing if you get the right hookups for the Alchemist Garden line, because it's in a very expensive line. The retail on this it's somewhere around £200 for 50ml. And I think it's about 300. They do a 100ml size as well. And that's about £300 or just under. It's like 280 or something. So it's expensive. It's nice presentation. It's niche. It's very marketed as a niche fragrance. We're going to be judging this as a niche fragrance. We're not just going to sort of say it's nice if it's like a sloppy designer sort of smell. I don't think we're going to get that. Or I know we're not going to get that. It's not going to be judged like that. This is going to be judged with the full spectrum of, you know, it needs to be artistic, it needs to be wearable, it needs to be appealing, you know, it needs to tick every box basically as a niche fragrance. To be honest, Jean-Christophe is in his element when he's doing things like this. This is his ballpark of sort of, unusual combinations of ingredients. He's a master at doing that. I feel like that's why a lot of his scents are so original, because he's very good at what he describes as picking out associations between certain ingredients and weaving them together. So you've got a characteristic of one ingredient that matches the characteristic of another ingredient. So even when they're different ingredients, you find the sort of common ground, put them together, and you normally get things that flow and sort of blend a bit better than you would with just clashing them. Different approaches to perfumery, but I very much feel like Jean-Christophe's scents are like a tapestry of associations that run through them, and that's the way I think his scents become very sort of smooth and well blended. They don't normally have synthetic tones just because of the way he associates the ingredients. So just bear that in mind. So we got Ylang-Ylang and tonka in this one as the main notes. So let's give it a spray. I'll tell you what I get from it. I already know what I'm going to get from it, but just for the sake of the video, let's get it. All right, here we go. And yeah, this is a really gorgeous opening, as you'd expect. It smells dense. It smells kind of like thick and creamy. It's obvious you've got like a floral note in there. Not necessarily a strong yellow floral note, but it's obvious there's like a sort of a floral note that's in there. That's the main thing you notice off the top. You notice the floral note, and you notice kind of like the pepper and the spice. That's the main sort of thing that sticks out. But just beneath that, you've got that like tonka, I guess, and it's like a creamy. You know how tonka is. It's normally smells of like. It's normally very sort of dense and sticky smelling, and it has like an almond, like cherry sort of tone to it. You've got that that one ingredient that's very prolific in perfume that's derived from it. This one, we're not going for that sort of blob of almond and cherry. Hopefully we're getting a more refined tonka, and that's exactly what I get here. I get that sort of sweetness from the tonka, but it's kind of just beneath the... It's just... What happens with this fragrance is that Ylang-Ylang has like a noticeable creaminess to it. If you look up the descriptions of what Ylang-Ylang smells like, you'll notice it's described as sort of like banana, creamy, sweet, exotic. Does have a slight indolic sort of part. I don't get any of that from this really. This is a very well balanced like floral note. Doesn't have that sort of dirty aspect in it. I think from the marketing that I read, the Ylang-Ylang in this is probably the most expensive sort of high grade Ylang-Ylang that's like available on the market, for sort of perfumers. I imagine it is the creme de la creme of Ylang-Ylang extracts. So we're getting that. We're getting tonka. We're getting kind of like spice. We're getting a really pleasant impression off the top. I really like this opening. This is kind of like a tonka scent, but like with a unique twist. And a twist in a way that cuts off the, that sort of marzipan cherry almond thing. I'm not getting that. The aspect of the tonka that I get more than anything with this is that kind of creamy sort of sweetness that's almost kind of like caramel, but it's not. It's very sort of velvety and smooth. Really, really nice. I've smelt tonka bean, so I know exactly what an actual tonka bean smells like, and this is a very good version of that sort of supplely velvety. There's a certain texture to a tonka bean which is super like velvety that it's very hard to replicate in a perfume. This one has a beautiful tonka along with that like Ylang-Ylang. So they are the marketing for this is correct, that those are the main two notes that you get from this. You get Ylang-Ylang, you get tonka. The overall vibe that you get when you spray it is just this really appealing, like creamy, smooth. It's sweet, but it's not sugary sweet. It's just a little bit sweet. It's this creamy, smooth, woody sort of scent. That's how I would describe this. It's creamy and smooth. It's woody. It's a little bit spicy. You've got notes like the oak wood and tobacco. You've got resins in here. This is a really beautiful scent. I sprayed this on the first time I used this. I went ham. I just sprayed it like everywhere. I was like, we're going to give this a proper test. I'm not just going to smell it. I'm going to spray it everywhere. I'm going to go out. We're going to go out in the cold. To be honest, it was a little bit cold, so I didn't really smell it fully because of the temperature being sort of 0 and stuff, but it did come across very, very well on skin, and it does come across well on skin. It felt like super, the way I would describe it, it felt super kind of cozy and snuggly, at the same time very smooth, definitely masculine, definitely leans toward the masculine side, although I think women could wear it. But yeah, just a super unique take on the tonka sort of style of scent. If you want to call it a tonka scent, you could on the other side just say it's like a floral scent that's got those, you could sort of spin it both ways. Depends how you want to sort of describe it. I would describe it more as a sort of a tonka scent with unusual, with unique sort of characteristics that come across. I like it a lot. I think this is really nice. Really original smelling, really wearable. That's the main thing. You get a lot of these scents which do unusual like note combinations. They're not always that wearable. They're not always smooth and well blended. This is an absolute masterclass. This is awesome. The only reason I've come on to do a video really today is because how impressed I was with this scent. Jean-Christophe has cooked. Like, we expect that when he's doing a niche, it's a big sort of brand and stuff. We expect him to at least cook something original. But this time he's cooked something that's not just original, but it's super for myself. It's super appropriate. It can be worn as a guy. It's not overly sweet as a tonka scent. It's not overly sort of powdery or any of that as a floral. The floral part of it is very sort of, it's just lovely. It's the way it works in this. It's just really good. I would not have thought that given the sort of the notes and the fact that there's Ylang-Ylang in it, I would not have thought that I would like this scent as much as I do. I think it's really, really good. It's ticking all the boxes of what a great perfume should be. It's it's not cheap, but it performs. it evolves brilliantly on skin. It's not a boom projector. Not many of his scents are really like that, to be honest. It's not a monster beast mode sort of thing, but in terms of a sort of a fragrance that's got decent, it's got decent projection, it's got very good longevity on skin. I could smell this when I wore this yesterday. I could still smell it today. Basically, it was definitely present on my clothes. It gets more and more enjoyable through the dry down. The dry down's really nice. Like, it's really, really nice and creamy and sweet. And it even has, like, as you dig more and more into the scent, it even has that trademark Jean-Christophe sort of touch, which makes it a little bit smoky. There's a little bit of a smoky aspect to it. And that really sets it off really beautifully. So you've got the sort of the creaminess from where the tonka and the Ylang-Ylang meet. You've got that sort of floral aspect lifting the scent. You've got that tonka aspect grounding it, giving it some sweetness. And then you've got all those other notes which really push it more toward a woody scent. You've got, you know, the tobacco, the resins, the wood. It really, like, the overall profile of this scent is pretty dark, it's pretty woody. The descriptions of it say it's ambery. It does have an ambery hue, but to me it's a little more woody than ambery, which I like. I don't really like, you know, the dominant amber notes. So this one's ambery sort of hue, very well, like, balanced with the rest of the scent. The dry down I would describe as sort of, you know, woody ambery, but not in a, you know, your typical woody amber sense. It's really natural, really, really nice. It's like, yeah, I'm absolutely loving this one. Jean-Christophe, you cook, dude. You cook something really nice here. You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say this is straight. Again, it's straight to the top of his pile of light creations. It's one of his best things that I've smelled that I can enjoy. I got the sample. Basically what I did, I found a set of samples. So I got like a whole set of samples for this. It wasn't cheap to pick this up, but at least I didn't have to pay 20 quid just to sample it once. I got a nice, you know, I got a nice set of samples here, so I can use this a little while we wait for a tester bottle, which I will definitely be snapping up when one comes up. If I can get a tester for the same price as the other testers for this line that I found, you know, there's someone, basically I found a hookup for these sort of testers in this line. This is just UK, mind you, so don't be messaging if you're not in the UK. But I found some hookups for some testers for these that potentially I might be able to get a tester of this for like somewhere around 100 for, you know, for the bigger size. That would be a buy. I'm not spending 300 on this. I wouldn't buy it for 200. Not to say it's not a nice scent, it's just my budget doesn't really allow me, or sort of, I can't really justify that amount on a fragrance like this when I have other fragrances like this. But this one's really unique, really wearable, really sexy. Like, I don't often use sexy, but that like floral note in it gives it that extra sort of, you just know that this is some attractive stuff. This is really good. I'm absolutely loving it. The Ylang Ambrato. I'm not sampling the rest of the line. I don't care. To be honest, I just, you know, this is Jean-Christophe. We follow him around, whatever he does. So we love this. We give it at least a 9 out of 10 for like the rankings. If you've got the budget and you like the sound of the notes, definitely sample this. Definitely sample this. You know, if you've really got the budget, you could just blind buy this if you like the sound of what I've said, because it's that good. It's mass appealing, but it's very unique smelling, very natural. It's very, very, very mass appealing within a niche sort of framework, and it is totally niche. I like that. You know, I've said on the other videos about that Thierry Mugler scent, Cœur Impertinent, that I like. This is kind of like up there with that for how unusual but wearable it smells. It's a really beautiful creation. And yeah, I've got to have a bottle of this, because it's not ultra, like I said, it's not ultra strong. It's not ultra cold weather leaning. You could probably wear this most of the year apart from summer. It's not like an ultra, yeah, it doesn't get too sweet. Like I said, it's just super attractive, really. It's a super attractive smell. Much more on the woody side, much more on the sort of darker woody resinous side. But yeah, if the sound of like a Ylang-Ylang, a yellow floral tonka scent sounds appealing, basically this is how you would combine those notes in the best imaginable way to create a really attractive, balanced, kind of like beautiful scent. That's how I feel about this at the moment. I will wear it more. I've got plenty of those samples to bust out, so I'll give it some more wearings. But like I said, this is on. I'm on the lookout now for a bottle. Hopefully someone else got something out of this. Here it is, Ylang Ambrato. It's a little sample packet. I've put on the video world exclusive, because as far as I can see, I did Google this, I can't see a single person in the world talking about this scent, and I can't find a single person in the world who's mentioned this scent. Out of all the hundreds and thousands of perfume enthusiasts, not a single person has really done a proper review of this scent. Certainly that's not an influencer. There's a couple of shorts about it, but this has been out a few months now, and there's no content on it at all. Nobody's reviewed it. So here I am. You know, I'm the Jean-Christophe fanboy, but I just find it amazing that the person who I consider to be the top perfumer in the world releases an amazing niche creation like this, and I can't find a single perfume reviewer who's even like, you know, I expect Sebastian will get this pretty soon. He's the one who's already, I think, mentioned it as sort of an upcoming fragrance, but it's out there now. It's been released. I'd love to see some more reviews on it, to be honest. I've got no complaints being the first person, but it's just amazing because I'm not, you know, how many people are going to watch my video? Maybe just a small handful. I do thank you guys who are out there who, you know, who are checking the content, who enjoy Jean-Christophe's creations. But this one deserves to have some you know, some bigger people speak about it, because it's gorgeous. For my taste, it's gorgeous. You know, I'm no expert with the floral notes with these kind of scents, but just from the sort of my little sort of, you know, my sort of mental sort of catalogue of scents I've smelt, this one's highly original. It's highly beautiful. I absolutely love it. Its wearability is what really makes it. Like, when I put it on skin, I enjoyed it. Well, the start was a little bit because, you know, the intros to these sort of scents are normally a bit, you know, you just have to sort of get used to them. But the way it transitioned through the scent, it was floral, it got sweet, it got creamier, it got a little bit smoky at times. The sort of transitions through this scent were absolutely, like, you know, just amazing on skin. Like, really enjoyable to sort of experience it. All the hallmarks of a brilliant perfume, basically. So yeah, Ylang Ambrato, I'm giving that like my highest possible praise. I didn't necessarily expect that, but I did know that the notes, you know, I knew those notes with this perfumer had the potential to be truly something that, you know, that would be really nice, potentially. My only concern was, is it going to be unusual? Is it going to be too unusual? Because he has got scents for niche, you know, to be honest, a lot of his niche creations are too unusual for me. Not what I would consider to be particularly wearable for my taste. This one's way in my ballpark. Super wearable, super rockable. I think low-key, most people would be able to rock this. It might not be particularly feminine. If you're a lady who's watching this, you've got to have a sort of a bit of a taste for those darker, woodier scents, I would say. But if that doesn't sound like a problem, it's certainly got enough sweetness and obviously the floral note in there that would make it unisex appropriate. I think a lady could, you know, if a lady could wear the Mogler that I talked about, Karen Pertinen, they could sure as hell rock this one. This one's not like ultra masculine by any stretch, but it's just enough the sort of woodiness and stuff that I find it very nice for me. Very nice for me, and then it has that unique floral note, the Ylang-Ylang, is what really, like, you know, and it's got the smokiness and the woodiness, and it's so creamy, so smooth, so well blended. Jean-Christophe, thank you for this one. We're going to be seeking out a bottle, like I said, seeking out a bottle, and yeah, that's going to be my piece on that. I had to do this because like I said, no one spoke about it yet. I didn't have to be, but I'd like to be the first to sort of speak about it. And yeah, I hope anyone who watched this got some insight into how this one smells, and maybe, you know, it piques their interest to go sample it. Definitely for most people it's a sample, it's not a blind buy, but it's for me, it's like, if you like his scents, if you like this sort of scent, definitely sample it. Don't delay. you know, you're going to get your nose on something really good here. You know, there's probably not going to be much coming out in this style that's this good. You know, I can't really think of many. Like I said, the one parfum that I sold recently, this is smashing it. This is smashing it. This is absolutely smashing it for my taste. Because it's a bit more, well, to start with, it doesn't smell designery. It smells natural. It smells original. It's better blended. It's better smelling. It's, you know, I know there's a lot of market for designer scents, and, you know, people like those DNAs. But if you're a little adventurous, and I like to be adventurous because, you know, we smell enough things out there. And to be honest, designer scents really disappoint me on the whole these days. They really do disappoint me. They don't do much for me at all. Even when they're at the best, like the One Parfum, for example. The One Parfum was a brilliant example of a perfectly executed designer DNA, or like a flanker to a designer DNA that was done very well. Still not good enough. Not to say that I'm ultra demanding, but when you've got things like this that are out there, why would you settle for that? Why wouldn't you get something that's, you know, this? Because this is just, this is just so opulent, so good. I can't say enough good things about this. So that's my piece on Ylang Ambrato, the Alchemist Garden. There it is. There's the bottle that you can see. It's got some of the notes there. What does it say? It just says, okay, so you've got Eau de Parfum, Tonka Bean Absolute, and Ylang-Ylang Heart Exclusive Extract. Don't quite know what that means, but it probably means it's a very high grade extract. Cistus Absolute. We know cistus from some other Jean-Christophe scents. Basically a part of a flower that's got a bit of a resiny sort of aspect. And tobacco accord. Definitely get some of that tobacco. It's one of the best bits. All that sort of dark smokiness that comes in is just the icing on the cake here. Really beautiful. So, you know, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you, Jean-Christophe. We're going to be loving this. We're going to be rocking it. And finding a bottle for sure. So, yeah, that's that. We'll see you on the next one.